Welcome back, everyone, to a new episode 7 of the VolBoyz podcast. I hope Vol Nation is hyped. Precursor to the Alabama game. It's Alabama hate week. Obviously, you got to just trash them. Henry Toto is trash coverage. That's all I have to say. Also, remember to follow our socials on Instagram and Twitter. That's VolBoyz Podcast with a Z. I'm Connor, and we're joined today by the boys. We got Trevor.
What's up? How's it going?
Levi.
Hey.
And Andrew.
Yes, sir. What's up?
And we're also joined today by a special guest, Tennessee Topic. He has over 3,000 followers on Instagram. Y'all got to make sure to go check him out and get it up to about 5,000, maybe 10,000. I'd be okay with that. And you can go ahead and introduce yourself whenever you want to, Tennessee.
What's good, everybody? I'm blessed to be here. Excited to be here for a big game this weekend. Looking forward to it. I know all of Vol Nation's looking forward to it, and hopefully we can get it done, get this dub.
Yes, sir. That's exactly it. So we're going to go ahead and hop straight into this episode. We're going to start out by talking about our media hype for this week. How are we feeling about it all? Trevor, do you want to start us out?
Dude, I am excited that College Game Day is back. SEC Nation will be there. I'm hyped. I really didn't think College Game Day would be back just because they don't normally go to, the same site twice in a season, let alone like 2 or 3 weeks apart, right? So, I'm excited that, the media is talking about Tennessee. I'm nervous everybody's picking us to win, though. That's really got me nervous. It seems like we went from like the underdog to, Tennessee should win this game within a week. And I don't know. I'm so excited, though, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Levi?
Just like Trevor's talking about, like with this media hype of everybody like picking us to win now, it's a little bit like it makes me a little bit nervous because like I'm not used to Tennessee getting all this love from people. So I don't think that has really that much of an effect on the game. Like, if the players are like getting overhyped maybe and like they're thinking, oh, this is gonna be a cakewalk, which they shouldn't because it's Alabama. It's never gonna be a cakewalk. But like it doesn't really have an effect on the game, and so like it's not gonna jinx us because jinxes aren't really real. But still, it still makes me a little nervous that everybody's gonna is picking us to win, and then if we come out and lose this game, it's gonna be really embarrassing. But I don't know. I don't think it'll matter too much. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Andrew, you got anything?
Yeah, same here, dude. Nervous and excited, like, all the same time. We kind of I like that underdog mentality that we've been having. Everybody kind of just haven't been going under the radar, just not getting kind of the respect that they deserve offensively. Defensively, things to work on. But anyway, yeah, SEC Nation coming plus College Game Day twice in like, less than a month? That's insane to me. I expect the stadium's going to be absolutely just wild. I'm excited, nervous, like I said, especially with all the questions coming into the game too from the media. You keep hearing, is Bryce Young going to play? Is he not going to play? I think our team's going to be fine though. We're locked in. Same for the Florida game. We played out and played really well. Besides the end of that fourth quarter for some reason, but yeah, dude. Overall excited, a little nervous, but I think we can do it. I think Josh is going to have the team just ready to run.
Oh, yeah. And Tennessee Topic, do you have anything?
Yeah, overall, I agree with all of y'all. I think College Game Day coming in and SEC Nation coming in and all this media hype is great and a great look for the program. It's going to help in so many ways. Even in recruiting, I think it will help a lot just because recruits want to have that media exposure, because the more media exposure, the more looks that you get, especially for maybe moving to that next level in the NFL. So I'm excited about that. Just overall, I think it's a little weird though, like you said, about being the underdogs to the favorites, and in most people's eyes, I still consider us underdogs in this game. I don't really understand why Bama fans feel the way they do. Maybe it's just because they competed last week with Texas A&M, even though they lost that game a year ago. I think it's kind of obvious. If you throw us against Florida, we're going to compete. If you throw us against Georgia, Alabama, we're going to compete almost every year, no matter how good our team is. You could throw that 2019 team up there and just look at how we weren't supposed to compete with Bama and we're still competing. It just doesn't make too much sense. But honestly, I think just overall, it's a great look, and we're moving in a great position right now. And I think it's just a good thing for this program.
For sure.
Mhm.
especially like
for
recruiting
sure.
wise. I mean,
Yeah, a bunch of
Yeah.
recruits coming in this week.
Dude, yeah, win or lose, this game could be huge for recruiting because just all the people being there and how crazy the environment's going to be. It's going to maybe sway some people in our direction, especially if it's a close game too, win or
Mhm.
lose. But yeah.
Oh yeah. So with all the media hype coming around, we look at this, and as Cincy Topic said, and I agree with him, I definitely think we're still underdogs in this. What are our expectations for this game coming up?
I mean, win or lose, let's just compete. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's compete. Let's go out and win. But I think Josh Heupel's going to have this team ready to compete. They're not going to fold under the pressure of this media hype. Um, Even though, like I said, I feel like we are expected to win this game for some reason. I really don't know why. Like it's Bama. Bama is going to be Bama. I know they're having a little bit of a, they're not even having a down year. They're just struggling against opponents like they normally don't do that. I think the expectation is for us to win, and I don't know. I think my expectation personally is just for us to compete. Uh, it's gonna be hard for me, to pick against Tennessee. You'll have to see our predictions at the end of the video, but I don't know. Let's compete and let's get a W.
Yeah, I agree. My expectations for the game is definitely like what Trevor said. Competing is the biggest thing because it's a loss is so much worse. Like people say, a win is a win or a loss is a loss, and that's true, especially for the win one. But a loss is definitely, if you get blown out, it's way worse than a close game. So if we are gonna lose, I just hope that we can at least keep it close all the way until the end of the game, and hopefully it's a nail biter at least. But I want to win this game, and if we don't win this game, I'm gonna be disappointed. And I'm tired of having all these moral victories because that's what we did during the Butch Jones era, and I don't want any of that. So I want to win this game, but I mean, it's gonna be hard, and I'll understand if we don't, but I'm not gonna be sitting here being like trying to get moral victories out of this. So, but that's my expectations, I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I feel like this is the best position we've been in I don't even know how long to actually really play with them and compete with them to a level where we can. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of questions coming in. Got to block that out and stuff. And really, you just don't know what to expect. But I expect, especially last year, if you go back and look at last year's game, I mean, we competed to the fourth quarter with them. It just really came down to a little bit of depth and, just how many snaps those guys were playing on both sides of the ball. It just kind of, you know, made us run into the ground and shoot ourselves in the foot, kind of. But I expect. I don't know. I don't want to get. I don't like to get myself like overly excited or I guess things like that. But I really want to win this game. I think this is a game we can win. I think all the top teams. Well, in the SEC, I think Georgia and Alabama have shown that they can be beaten this year. They're not this crazy high power team that nobody can touch, especially Georgia compared to last year. Um, I think Tennessee has a good chance to win this game. I'm expecting it to be. I just want to see, like Trevor said, to an extent, just competing, being there every play, just keeping your head in the game for 4 quarters and playing football. But I'll be okay. We don't have to win this game. I mean, it's obviously great if we do win this game. It's not a have to, but it would be really good if we could win this game. But I'm going into it looking very positive and just wanting to see us compete and make it a really close game and make it just hard on Bama. I mean, they're very unknown for the turnover game. Like last week they had like 4 turnovers in that Texas A&M game, which is very unlike Bama and Nick Saban's team. So I think we really have a legitimate chance if we come out and play like we did against LSU and just keep going. We have a good chance to win this game.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. Especially like you said, if we come out like LSU, I think we have a great chance to get it done. Especially if we jump off to an early start. I personally don't think I've ever looked forward to Bama week more than this year. It's been years since we could actually truly say we believe that Tennessee could beat Bama. And I think that says a lot about how Heupel's turning this program around. Because if it was the Jeremy Pruitt era, guarantee you no one was saying, "Oh yeah, I think we can beat Bama." Like, it's something you don't hear. And with everything, I honestly expect this to be a close game either way. I don't think it should be a blowout. And if it's a blowout in either team's favor, it's just not going to look good on that team who gets blown out. Bama's a great program. They're always going to be great. It's not going to change anytime soon, especially while Nick Saban is the head coach. It's just not going to happen. Josh Heupel, I would say, definitely has turned this program into an elite program. I think he's probably a top one head coach in the SEC for this year, just because he's overachieving everything. And honestly, with that alone, I expect this game to just be one of the best games of the season in all college football. I don't think College Game Day is going to regret coming to this one.
Yeah, I agree
Facts.
with you, man.
Facts.
Oh yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. Especially looking at the way this game is matched up and the way the two teams, as you both have said, all of you guys have really said it's it's going to be a shootout no matter what. I don't know how the defenses are going to play, but it's definitely going to have to be something that's going to have to step up, and it's going to come down to the wire for sure. Which leads us into our next topic, which is really a question about whether the game could come to a wire, is the injuries. Bryce Young out with a shoulder injury. Not sure if he's actually going to be in the game for Saturday. Still questionable. And also Cedric Tillman, still questionable with a lower body injury. What do you guys have to think about these injuries that are coming about?
I mean, looking at Bryce Young, I don't see. I mean, I thought going into this week, I'm like, this guy's gonna play. It's Bama, Tennessee. He's gonna play. I mean, rotator cuff on a throwing shoulder. How much is he gonna be able to throw the ball? Like, even if he does play, like, if he's at 70, 80%, he doesn't have much of an impact on the game. I don't think. I think he needs to be 100% for him to have a big impact on the game. Because I mean, really, if he's 80% and he's not throwing the ball much, might as well put Milrow in because he doesn't throw the ball much either, right? And he can run it a lot better than Bryce Young can. So I mean, I don't see Bryce Young playing. And as far as Cedric Tillman goes, I don't really see him playing either. But this team has shown that they can, next man up mentality. We don't we need him to play, but we're still producing, without him. So I think that's great to see. And then another one, like not on the injury report, is Jalen McCullough. Is he gonna play or not? I doubt it. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about him since the incident.
Is what I've heard.
Okay, well maybe he will. I think we definitely need him, especially for experience. Obviously our secondary's been bad this season. That's without question. But yeah, no, Bryce Young, I just don't see him playing. I don't see Cedric Tillman playing either, and I think I'm okay with both those.
Yeah, I agree. I've gotten to the point to where I don't think Bryce Young will probably play, but I also think there's still a chance. I'd say it's about 60-40 for me because I don't know. I've seen a lot of people saying he's not going to play, and then I've seen a lot of people also saying he is going to play. No matter if he plays or not, he's not going to be at 100% by the end of this week. And so if he is playing, he's not going to be the same Bryce Young that he's not going to be Heisman Bryce Young most likely.
So it's like either way, they're going to rely on the run game. Either way.
So yeah, that's good for us because we would prefer them to rely on the run game, honestly, because our defense is more geared towards that. And then with Cedric Tillman, I agree. I don't think he's going to play. I think Josh Heupel realizes that it's not Cedric Tillman. He's an important part of this offense, but this past few weeks has showed us that he isn't. He isn't like it's without him. Our offense doesn't just die. Like with Alabama, their offense pretty much runs on Bryce Young. With us, Cedric Tillman, while he was a key part of our offense, we have playmakers who can just be put in there who can take his place while he's gone, and so we're fine. I think we'll be fine without Tillman. I mean, it'd be better if we had him, but I think it'll be fine. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the injuries.
Yeah, so I mean, everybody's gonna talk about Bryce Young from the beginning. From what I've saw and heard is well, I actually watched Saban on he was on a video for ESPN just the other day. Uh, Basically, it comes down to he's not really done anything this week from what people were saying. Basically, it comes down to like a game time decision, in which everybody's going to be watching warm ups anyway. If he can throw well, then he might play, but I don't see with his type of talent too, and risking making it worse or a career-ending injury. I don't know, especially with it being the throwing shoulder. I just don't. I don't really know, but I don't expect him. It could go either way. I mean, it's going to be like a game time decision right before kickoff. So we'll see where he's at with that. Cedric, the hope was he was going to be back for the Alabama game, but it was never a guarantee. He definitely is practicing and stuff, but I don't think he's there 100% to give everything he can to the offense. I don't think it's necessarily that bad. I don't really see us having that much of a drop off since he's been injured. Obviously, we want him there because of just the big time plays and stuff that he can make. And I mean, he's an excellent player. He's one of the keys to the offense. But I think Ramel Keaton and a couple other guys has stepped up a lot. And obviously Jalen with the off the field issue and stuff. I've heard they've actually been practicing multiple guys back there, Slaughter and Wesley or something like that, I believe.
Is Brandon Turnage a safety as well?
Yeah, but they said I watched his press conference and they said there was only two guys back there that he was rotating in back there at safety. I don't know what the deal is with that, but I think they expect Slaughter to play if Jalen obviously can. Which to be honest, man, I don't really know if he's gonna be able to with all that type of stuff right now. At least right now, but yeah, I mean, with Cedric, I don't expect him to play. I think he'll be back probably for Kentucky game. They'll probably rest him next week if he can go, because I don't know why you'd play him against UT Martin. But Bryce Young's still up in there. I think it's a game time decision, but we'll see, man. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, so I will touch on Bryce Young first. I honestly think that in general, Bryce Young at 80%, I still think I would trust him more than Jalen Monroe. I just don't know if it's something you want to go out there and risk a re-injury for.
Yeah.
I've personally watched Jahmyr Gibbs since high school. He's been known to be able to make catches out the backfield and turn upfield. Wouldn't be surprised if you see Alabama doing that a lot, especially if they do play Bryce Young. You don't want to see him slinging the ball down the field. So I think that helps our DBs out just a little bit. And as far as Jalen Monroe, I feel like he's more of a one type of threat, and that's running the ball. I'm not too really worried about him throwing the ball deep. He just can't connect as much as someone like Bryce Young, which not many people in college can. So, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. As far as Cedric Tillman, honestly, Cedric Tillman is so much alike with Hendon Hooker. They want to be on that field. They want to compete. They want to do everything they possibly can for this team, no matter how bad they're hurting. And honestly, if you were to ask Cedric Tillman if he wanted to play, I'd guarantee you Cedric Tillman would probably say, yeah, coach, I want to get in this game. I want to play this game. It's just a matter of what.
After he got hurt against Akron, right? Didn't he say he could go back in the game?
Yeah, see, and here's the thing, though. Earlier this week, you were hearing, oh, Tillman's most likely back. He's most likely going to be back. And then throughout the week, you're like, oh, no, it could be till Kentucky. So I don't know necessarily that it's not a smoke screen. For all we know, we could hear during the morning that he's playing, or right before game time that he's a game time decision and he could come in, shock the world, play. But if not, I'm a big believer in Jalen Hyatt. I think Vol Nation is sold on Jalen Hyatt. I've been sold on Jalen Hyatt since he got here. Matter of fact, he's been probably the most entertaining player to watch ever since he threw that stiff arm out against Missouri on the sideline. Throwback to anyone who remembers that. But honestly, I think Jalen Hyatt is the true wide receiver one of this team, the heart of this team here recently. throughout this season alone. So I'm a big believer in him. As far as Tank, I do find it a little interesting that they're keeping Wesley Walker back there and Danico Slaughter. Surprised they're not trying to put Andre Turrentine back there a little bit. That's a little bit of a surprise to me. Feel like that would be the third guy 100%. As much as I do want to see Brandon Turnage get some playing time, because the one time he did get playing time last year, he had 15 tackles. So, I mean, honestly,
SEC Defensive Player of the Week that week.
Exactly. So I'm a big believer. I hope Tank gets back. I think personally, I think Tank should play. I think people are trying to make it out like he's the bad guy when he really isn't. I feel like you have that right if you know the situation. Don't know what we can't speak on.
Sure.
So I won't personally speak on it. If y'all wanted to, that's on y'all. I just don't want to. So honestly, I think Tank should play. I think Bryce will play. And as far as Tillman, I think he'll be a game time decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I could see that for both. I mean, Cedric Tillman is definitely a concern. But also, I mean, as you guys are saying, without Tillman, Hendon Hooker has spread out the ball, and that's what we've wanted to see from the start. He's not just scoping in on one receiver and trying to force the ball to him like he was Tillman. And I think that definitely lays pressure off. And I think once Cedric Tillman comes back, I think he's going to have a big game because they're going to be like, oh, now we realize that they have Jalen Hyatt and Ramel Keaton and all them that they have to guard.
Dude.
Yeah,
It's going to be tough for these upcoming moments when Tillman does eventually come back, hopefully for Alabama. But again, I feel like it's the same with Bryce Young. I mean, we can use Tillman later on in the season. I'd rather him be 100% than come back and be like 87% and then get injured even worse.
Yeah, for like Georgia or something too, dude. That'd be a big game. Yeah, I mean that's really the focus.
That could be a thought for Alabama too, thinking with Bryce Young, because
Yeah,
honestly, if they lose to Tennessee, they're not out of the race.
No.
Yeah,
They're
they're
not
not.
lost.
Yeah.
But if you play Tennessee and you lose Bryce Young gets a season-ending or
Yeah.
career-ending injury during that game,
Mhm.
Talk up
and
two losses
even if
pretty much.
even if they still win that game, winning that game and losing Bryce Young for the rest of the season could be more detrimental to them than
Yeah.
just losing to
That
us.
might be a bigger loss. To be
Yeah,
honest.
it is, yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
their season, losing to us, their season's not over. We're the number 6 team in the country, and we're not even.
We're in the East.
Yeah, we're in
Yeah.
the East, so they still would get into the SEC championship, even with just
Yeah.
losing to us.
Still got to win
But-
out.
Vice versa, though. That same goes with us. If we were to lose this game and go beat Georgia, then we're right back there for that that rematch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because I
Facts.
truly believe that we're a better team than Kentucky for sure. I think we can beat
Oh, yeah.
Kentucky.
oh yeah,
One thing we don't
Sorry
do is
about
lose
that.
to Kentucky.
That's
So
right.
I mean,
Plus it's at home too. That game. And they
It's
haven't
gonna be
been
wild.
good,
Yeah.
so
Dark mode. Throw out the dark mode out there. Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, dude. It's gonna be fire. I
Oh, yeah.
think just real quick going back to the whole, Hooker with Hyatt thing, like I think it's been good. Not that Cedric got injured, but like it's kind of just allowed Hooker to open up and see the field more and like trust, build trust more with. I've been talking up Hyatt since the beginning of the season, bro. That man is like, I'm finally
oh yeah,
loving just the respect he's finally getting and showing, the work he's been putting in, bro. I mean, LSU, 2 touchdowns? I mean, that dime from Hooker. I mean, dude, there was times last year that guy was wide open, but Hooker just didn't see the field. He's looking Cedric's way. Not saying that's a bad thing, but that's something he's just realized and learned. Same thing with Brew, bro. That guy's just impressed me since he's got here. I mean, the stuff he's been able to do, physical, just kind of like Tillman. I mean, I'm just happy that Hooker's been able to, find that and, survey the field a little bit more than when Tillman was out there. It was kind of like he's just looking that side of the
He's
field.
become a better quarterback.
Oh, yeah. It's been
Without
great, dude.
Tillman. I mean, looking at the
I'm
Pitt
excited
game,
for when he gets back, too, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait for him to get back, really, because I think matched up with the rest of our receivers, like
How are
we're
you going to
talking,
cover all 4
it's gonna be-
guys? Or
Yeah,
3 guys like that, bro?
If we
I
go
mean,
4 wide, who are you going to double team? You can't
Yeah.
double team anybody on the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be insane. But anyway,
Oh, yeah.
go ahead, Connor. Sorry.
Oh no, you guys are good. It actually leads us into our next topic where you guys are talking about Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt, stuff like that. But what about Alabama's defense versus Tennessee offense? key matchups for this game, looking at different cornerbacks, safeties, and on the offensive side of the ball for Tennessee. What are we thinking for our key matchups for this game?
I think my main one is probably going to be our defensive line against their offensive line.
Yeah.
This is definitely the best offensive line we faced all season. And even then, I don't think they're as good as they once were, years back. And our defensive line is absolutely eating right now. Can we step up and stop this run game? Keep Milrow contained if he does play. Hit Bryce if he plays. Let's can we continue to put pressure on quarterbacks, make them make bad decisions, poor decisions, turn the ball over? Can we contain Jahmyr Gibbs? I'm really interested to see because our running game, our defensive running game or stopping the run has been extremely good this season. But is that just because teams can throw all over us? Like I don't truly know. I mean, it seems like every time teams do try to run the ball on us, they don't go anywhere. Like you saw that against LSU, who supposedly has a great run game. Had 20 yards for running backs. I think Jaden Daniels had 20 or so yards as well. They had 50 yards rushing on us last week. Can we keep this defensive pressure up this game? Is going to be really interesting to see. Offensively, I'm interested to see if we can run the football against their defense because that's going to be a huge key to this game. I think is just being a balanced offense once again, like we saw last week against LSU. Staying one-dimensional is probably just not going to work against Bama. I think we'll still be able to score points, but putting all the pressure on Hooker, it's going to come back to haunt us, I think, if we can't run the football. I think we're going to still be able to score 20, 30 points if we're just throwing, but keeping the defense honest. And if we ever get in a situation where we got a melt clock, can we, run the football? That's a big key for me.
And even a bigger key for me is can we run the football without fumbling it?
Yeah.
Because that's my
Yep.
biggest worry when we were running the ball is them keeping the ball in their hands. Because there's been too many times where we've ran the ball and we've fumbled it. Some of those times it's bounced back into our players' hands, but we can't have turnovers against Bama. And one thing that I'm thankful for is I saw something, I don't know the exact stats, but I saw and heard something on a show I was watching about how Bama is the second worst team for turnovers in the SEC, but
Yep.
only in front of Auburn. So
And Auburn is trash.
that's really good for us because that means that hopefully Bama's not going to get too many turnovers against us. So, and they'll most likely give us turnovers, hopefully. And if that happens, I think this game goes way more in our favor than it should because not only does a turnover change momentum, give the ball back to us, but it also gets the crowd even more into it and it fuels the game. And so I think turnovers is going to be a big part of this game. And so I'd say the key matchups, though, is definitely our defense. And with our offense, I mean, yeah, I'm not too worried about our offense. So I'm going to focus more on our defense here. But with our defense, it's just the secondary. Can we our secondary play good against a struggling quarterback room right now that's not at 100% with Bryce Young being hurt, or even if he plays him, or if he doesn't play, Milrow not being as good as him. So can our secondary step up and be able to defend the pass? And so I think that's the biggest matchup for me for this game. And if we can do that and stop the run, I think we're going to be golden because I think we're going to be able to score enough points. But also, like Trevor said, we need to be able to run the ball against Bama and not just throw it every play. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, dude, my key matchups, I said it against the Pitt game, which didn't really work out that well for Tennessee in that part, but it's got to be the run game, dude. We're facing a really stacked front four with, Will Anderson. I mean, dude, they've been stopping the run really good. And for us and our offense, for our passing game to open up, I've said it last time, we have to get our run game going, which we did really well against LSU. And I think we've been getting a lot more output from our offensive line and that push that we need. But That's really where you first got to just start off and win. You got to win first and second downs in this game. Also, with the scheme they're probably going to play, there's going to be a lot of one-on-one matchups that obviously our receivers got to win, which I think they will win. They find ways to get open all the time. I think that's going to be the big key. Defensively, you got to stop number one, dude. I mean, Jameer Gibbs is an absolute, unit. That guy out of the backfield, he's slow to the hole and then hits it, once he finds it. So, also, not even mention how he can get the ball and just turn it upfield. Really quick on you. So, you got to find a way to stop him. He's going to be relied on heavy in this game, I feel like, especially if Bryce Young's not playing, dude. Also, I feel pretty confident with how we've been stopping the run. It's just, if they're able to pitch it out quick to him or something, we got to be able to contain it. You know what I'm saying? Not let him get the sideline. But that's probably my matchups, dude, is honestly just our offensive line push and being able to create lanes for, Small and Wright, and maybe Sampson if he comes back in. And pass protection, bro. Got to have pass protection. I know Sampson, it's a learning moment. He had that bust in LSU, just missed the summit, and then Hooker got rocked. But with Will Anderson coming, bro, you got to make sure you find ways to slow him down from getting to the quarterback and giving Hooker time to get rid of the ball. But I think we'll be locked in, dude. But that's my matchup, dude.
Yeah, see, for the offensive side, I think our main focus 100%, more specifically, the edges or anyone flying off the edge. We need to be able to contain those blitzes. I'd expect us to have a running back blocking most of this game, and potentially you could see him go out for a route every now and then, catch him off guard, but having an extra blocker back there would help so much. Like you said, honestly, the LSU game, seeing that cornerback blitz, and I just don't understand it. Like, he came through so free and laid a hit on Hendon Hooker to the point Hendon Hooker was like, bent over, like holding his stomach area, like where he was hurting. It's just you got to protect your quarterback. You don't want to see your quarterback get hurt. That's a number one priority, 100%. Because if you can protect your quarterback and give him enough time or give him a clean pocket, I trust in Hendon Hooker enough to make those plays. I think obviously he's been doing what he does all season long against not as good defenses as Alabama, but still SEC defenses, still talented defenses. Pitt, regardless of how people want to put them out there, they're a great team, and he was doing his thing against them too. On the other side of the ball, I think the key matchup 100% is Jeremy Banks on whoever's at quarterback. If you can spot Jeremy Banks for primarily most of the game, have him watching a little bit over across the middle for short routes and just spy him. And, you've seen it against Anthony Richardson, probably the best running quarterback in the nation because God knows he can't throw. Just honestly, seeing him play against Anthony Richardson and containing him the best out of any college that has played Florida this year has showed a lot. It shows how much we've progressed at QB spying and containing, because last year, I hate to go back to it. Bro. Matt Corral had 200 and something yards rushing.
Was insane.
That killed us.
And he was never known as one of those guys who's going to sit there and kill you with his legs. But honestly, I think those are your big matchups, and if we can win those, it could be a serious game changer.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with all you guys. Just looking right now, two different teams that we have. Really, as you guys were saying, we gonna have to contain the quarterback no matter what. That's definitely it. I agree with Trevor and about defensive line versus offensive line. We're going to have to get pressure in there, but also be able to contain. So our linebackers are going to have to step up. Our linebackers have been getting just absolutely torched in pass coverage, but they get pressure. That's really where they make up for it. I know Andrew talked a little bit about Will Anderson. What has he really done this year? He has 5 total sacks. He does have 1 interception, but I have not heard absolutely anything about Will Anderson, and compared to last year where he was just dominant, I think teams are actually able to game plan around him because you really look at the rest of the defensive line. I mean, there's not a lot to be said. It's really they have a lot of strength in linebacker, but I don't think that's in pass coverage. So it's going to be what are we on the seventh episode? The seventh episode in a row where I'm going to be saying it. Our tight ends need to do something. I want to see them get involved so much, and it might be Hooker. Just looking at the wide receivers and having checkdowns be tight ends, but it's like I would love to see
Dude.
us do some drags to some tight ends or put a tight end right in front of Henry Toto's face and just show that he was not a good pass coverage linebacker.
Couldn't cover a
And-
slant to save his life.
Oh no! And so I that's what I'd love to see. Maybe even Jalen Hyatt, just put him in the slot and just see
him
Henry
go.
Toto just turn his head and be like, I can't guard that.
You know, they might put Princeton Fant for max protect back there.
I would be
Oh, yeah.
If they're
100%
really
okay
trying to
with that.
load. 'Cause it's
Wouldn't be a
pretty
bad
good.
idea.
Yeah, they've done
Oh, yeah.
it before. They've been doing it a couple times, especially
That-
because he's good at that.
That would be perfect if they could put him in the backfield to block, because
Yeah,
I know
'cause
he
he's
has
a big body
experience back
dude,
there
yeah.
too.
I'd
And
rather
then just
Warren
have him
catch the
check
ball
out.
anyways.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Besides, putting a freshman Dylan Sampson or even Jabari Small. I mean, Jabari's been pretty good at it, but still, I think with I've watched him a couple times when they put him back there max protect. He's great at picking up
Oh,
the
yeah.
block.
The only thing is, if you do that too much, they're always gonna know like what you're doing. If you're.
Oh, I don't care.
But,
We can
Oh,
throw
yeah,
him
I
on
mean,
him.
they
They
have
know
to-
it's
I
coming.
mean, if you're splitting them wide, I don't really know how else they would be able to do it.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, even motion. I'd love to see them put him in
Yeah.
motion for some run plays. I mean, you get him in motion and he has a little bit of steam before he comes off. Will Anderson is going to be on his butt. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, if you look
mean-
too, I mean, teams have been like finding every way to keep that guy from getting in the backfield. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched the Texas A&M game, dude, like double teaming him so bad. It's pretty insane. He's still been able to fight through a couple, but he is for sure one to watch out for this week, dude.
Hendon's legs has gotta play a key role in this game. He's got to be able to get out of the side of the pocket,
Yeah.
and he's done a really, really good job of doing that the past couple weeks.
Dude, yeah.
I know I was complaining a lot because he was a lot of times when he was scrambling earlier in the season, he was running straight up the middle and like
Yeah.
right into the teeth of the defense. Recently, he's been getting outside the pocket, and he's got a couple 40-yard scrambles that have just been key to this
Mhm.
team.
Dude, yeah, there's been so
Yeah.
many times where I thought he was gonna get sacked, and somehow he pulls it into like a 10,
Oh, yeah.
20-yard play.
He's
Yeah,
got to
that's a
continue that this
question.
game.
Or you're talking about Hooker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he does, bro, I just want him to get down, bro. I don't want him to keep taking
I know,
shots, especially
yeah.
on this
He
Bama
just gotta
team, bro.
get
They
down.
hit
Honestly,
hard.
Honestly, though, if you tell him to start going down and stuff, and I heard this and it kind of clicked with me. I mean, you're kind of taking that competitive factor away
Sure.
from Hendon Hooker. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
in my head, it's like, obviously, if you're about to take a hit from like 3 people, get
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
But if
And he
it's
did
one
better
person,
about
make
that,
them miss.
Yeah,
Oh,
he did
yeah.
better about that too in LSU. He was getting down like when he needed to just save his body. But I think, yeah, that could be, dude. We have just a lot of weapons. I feel like on our offensively, what we can do.
Or going back to that
and Hooker
competitive-
leads that whole thing. Yeah,
going back to that competitive edge, I loved how he was getting in the face of those
Oh,
Gators.
yeah.
He's a
Couple
big
weeks
dude,
ago,
bro. He
man,
can
that
take some
was-
hits. That's for sure.
I loved it. Like, it's talking about not getting down. He was being physical, getting in their face, just being a leader, competitor out there.
Yeah.
It's great to see.
Sure.
That's for sure.
sure.
And with us talking about how obviously Heisman, Hendon Hooker has been, let's just talk about our breakout players. What are we thinking about our breakout players for this week? Obviously, we got the not really front runner, but should be front runner Hendon Heisman coming up into this game, expecting like 5,000 passing yards for this game. What are our breakout players for the game?
So offensively, I'm just gonna go with Jabari. Jabari Small has got to have a great game. He doesn't even have to have a great game. He's got to have a solid game. He's got to have 75 to 100 yards rushing. if he does that, I think we win this game. It just makes our offense so, I don't know, it just makes it so versatile. Like you don't know what's coming next. If we can run the ball, it I don't know. Either way, we're gonna score a lot of points, I think. But he's got to have a great game like he did against LSU.
Yeah.
I think that's the real reason why we scored 40. If you look at it, um, that 9-minute drive was crazy, and that was pretty much all Jabari Small. So he's got to have a big game for us to really solidify this W. Then I'm going to go on the other side of the ball, and we're talking about Jeremy Banks a little bit. I'm going to go back to Aaron Beasley.
Love
And-
that pick.
I
was about to choose him. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, I think he had like 9 tackles last week. He's been balling out, really coming out of nowhere, having a weirdly like quiet season, as in like no one's talking about him, but he is balling out, and him and Jeremy Banks are the leaders of this defense. I think, he just does everything right, and I think,
Like that fourth down stop at LSU, he hit
I
that
know.
gap and stopped it.
I
That
know.
was sick. Yeah.
Him reading and reacting has been, great for this team. He's going to play a big role in stopping this Alabama run game for sure. Special teams. Let's see D. Williams have a couple good returns, and I'd be very happy with that. And
yeah.
Chase
Good to have him
gonna have
back.
to come too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go into mine. I'm kind of mad that you picked D. Williams because I was hoping to be the first one to bring him up, but yeah, I'll start with D. Williams. I'm gonna go ahead and predict he's gonna have. If he doesn't get a return for a touchdown, it's gonna be an insanely good return like he had against LSU, and so that's my prediction. I think he's gonna have a balling out game there. It'd be nice to see him play some corner, but if he's not, he didn't play really much in the LSU game, so
I
that
saw he had
probably
like 3 snaps at corner
yeah,
the whole game.
that shows me he's probably not the best player at corner right now. So if he's not the best player, don't play him. But I mean, if he is, I want to see him play. But so then going to offense, I think Brew McCoy, he could have a breakout game.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the thing with him
Yeah.
is, see, he's not necessarily as fast as the other receivers, but he is a tank. He can muscle through, and if he catches the ball, because I've seen him do it. He's been able to get through players even after catching the ball, and so I think he could be pretty pivotal to what's going to be a very physical game. And then on defense, I'm going to say, so it's a little bit harder for me to choose one for defense, but I'm going to go with I think Byron Young. I think he's going to have a good game, and he'll probably end up being the best defender out there when the game is all finished. But yeah, those are my three breakout players for the game.
So I'm gonna start offensively first. Obviously I think Hennon's gonna do his thing, bro, and have a good turnout, hopefully. But I'm gonna really put it on our receivers, man. I'm gonna say Hyatt. He's just gonna keep continuing to do his work and do his business and keep impressing me. And I'm gonna say, dude, on third down, bro, you gotta look Brew McCoy's way. That dude can find the sticks and he can get you going. I think he's gonna be pivotal on third downs, man. For getting that first down. But I'll go ahead and bounce over defensively. I'm going to say, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and bump or go over here to defense. But defensively, I'm going to stick to the linebackers. I think they're going to be really stressed this game just with how much they're going to be able or being asked to, cover, especially with who's going to be playing. But I'm going to either go, I want to say Jeremy Banks, but I'm going to go Jawan Mitchell. I think he could have a good game. I think you have to have a good game from your linebacker core, regardless, right? I think he's been doing pretty solid this year. I think he could have a really good game coming back. Well, he's only played like how many games since he's been back? Three, four, three.
Hit game, right? Or
Yeah, maybe I can't remember. It's like 3 or 4 games though. But yeah, him and Jeremy Banks, I think for sure, and then obviously D. Williams, and honestly, I'll say Paxton Brooks for some good punts and stuff. We have to put our defense in some good situations, right? So that's going to be my key players.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and just bring up one for me, which is on defense side of the ball. I'd love to see Trayvon Flowers step up. especially with how he's been playing recently. Um, he's been solid. I mean, I don't even think any balls have really gone his way to where he's been able to be a difference maker. But I mean, he had a pick in the LSU game really at the end to officially seal it, even though there's only like 13 seconds on the clock. I mean, there's really no way they could have came back from that one. But just the way he's been playing in coverage, I mean, I'd love to see him have a step up game, especially with Jalen McCollum like out. Not sure officially if he's out, but if he is out, that's going to have to be a player that's going to step up at the safety position, because that's where we need our coverages, where they come down to, because our corners haven't been all that consistent in their coverages, and the safety is definitely something where Alabama loves the deep ball if they do pass it with Bryce Young, and that's definitely going to have to be someone that you're going to have to look to on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball, I'd love to see Princeton Fant step up, but every time I go with that, he doesn't. So
It fumbles the football against Florida.
yes,
I remember that.
So I would definitely. Jalen Hyatt's obviously going to be a stepped up role. I think he's going to be wide receiver 1 for this game. Love to see Brew McCoy actually get a lot of yards too, but Ramel Keaton, I'd love to just. He almost had the nastiest grab versus LSU, like nastiest one-handed grab. I was like, if he would have caught that, I would have. Game's over. I mean, season's over. Just give us the national championship. Because just the play, how he has so much range around him that like really all Hendon Hooker has to do is just throw it up in his direction, and he could definitely come down with it. Which isn't really what we've seen from him the past years. I think he definitely could have a step up role in the slot. I'd love to see him, especially if we have Jalen Hyatt run a streak on the outside, and you just put Keaton right up the seam. That's a play right there. That's 2 threats, and safety's going to have to choose.
Yep.
So those are mine. Definitely breakout players for this game coming up.
All right, Tennessee topic. Do you want to give us your breakout players?
Yeah, so there's so many players I can mention. So I'll give 2 on each if that's okay.
Yeah.
So on offense, I think obviously the first guy I'm gonna pick, because I'm not gonna mention Hendon Hooker. I'm not, as much as I want to. I'm not gonna be that guy. I think that's kind of obvious. Jalen Hyatt, clear cut wide receiver 1 for this season. Has breakaway speed. One of the fastest wide receivers like I've probably seen at Tennessee ever. I mean, just sitting there, just making DBs look silly. You can't guard him. I wouldn't be surprised if Bama tries double teaming him, which is okay because that's going to leave one open. Then you see it a lot in Florida, like points where I see triple teams. It's like, okay, all right, what are we doing, Florida? You're really just going to let Keaton be wide open? Just doesn't make any sense. And then big body. I know as much as hate me making this comparison, it almost throws me for a loop with a Jawan player, what he fights for yards. And I love to see it. Always been a big one to see a little have that in him, and he's defenders miss. He probably leads the team in break. To be honest, at this point, I just don't know, but just as good, if not better, as he was advertised coming in. And on defense, I'm gonna mention a player that no one mentioned, Tamarian McDonald in the spot. I feel like 100% if they take off running, most of the times the quarterbacks wants to take off running outside. If they trust their speed. Meaning, if he takes off to the outside where the star is, he starts pretty much like a slot player. Then to make that. So, honestly, if Tamarian McDonald can get downfield, he could be a big race for Jalen Monroe or Bryce Young, depending on who's playing. And Jameer Gibbs, especially if he's going out on a swing route or a ball route, you know, that. And another player, I feel like he's been a little bit quiet ever since the Pitt game. Tyler Barron. I feel like if he steps up and has a big game on the other side, can shift down even to a defensive tackle, I think that would be huge for us either way. Because Tyler Barron, if he can have a good game, and we've seen him have great games in the past, if he can have a good game, it affects this defense so much. It especially helps Byron Young on the other side. So I'm very excited about those two players on defense. I feel like they're going to be game changers for this Bama game and potentially could give us the dub at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah. So for the next thing, we're going to go ahead and hop into our score predictions. Give a quick score prediction really fast of what we think. And if Trevor, if you're ready, we can go and start out with you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a shootout, I think, and it's gonna be very, very close. I think it's gonna come down to the wire, maybe come down to the last drive, field goal, something like that. I'm gonna predict Tennessee to win. 38-37 over Bama. I think this is the year we get that monkey off our back. We already got Florida off our back. Let's move on to Bama, and let's send them back home with an L.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
so excited about this game. It's been 15, 20 years in the making. Let's go get this dub. I'm ready.
Yeah, I think that's a good score prediction, Trev, because I'm somewhere in the same ballpark with Tennessee winning. I'm gonna say 41-38, with the winning by a field goal and Vols win, of course. So yeah, that's my prediction for the game.
Heck yeah.
It's gonna be a tough one, but
Um, I'm just gonna say 45-0 Bama, but I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm actually gonna go. I'm predicting Tennessee to win this. It's gonna be close, like Trevor said. And mine's a close score too, man. I think Tennessee puts up 38, and Bama comes 35. So I'm gonna predict 38-35.
Yeah, see, I think Tennessee's going to play aggressive and not really let off the gas. Still have Tennessee winning this game. Don't see them taking much field goals here. 35-31 Tennessee.
Fact.
Dang, y'all. Mine's about to be blow y'all's out of the water. I don't think our
21
defenses
point win, though, yeah.
are either going to do absolute jack this game. I feel like defensive line, especially for Tennessee, is going to step up and they're going to get pressure. But I'm really worried about secondary and linebackers for both teams, number one. I'm going, and I'm definitely not going to be the first one to say Alabama wins because that's not going to happen, obviously. But I'm going like an absolute shootout. I'm thinking not as big as the LSU Texas A&M. What was it? 2-3 years back.
oh, I thought you
It's
were
going to be a
talking about- I
shootout.
thought you were talking about this last week. I was like, that was not a shootout.
No.
No, I know the
when-
like 8 overtime game.
Yes,
was like
yes.
70 is. Yeah.
I could see this game going into overtime. I don't think it will, but I could see for
Yeah.
mine.
hope
I have
not.
Tennessee winning 54-51.
I think we do
That's
better in
okay.
overtime, or we have a better chance in overtime than them if Bryce Young doesn't play.
I think that's a good
But
prediction.
I don't
still.
want to. I don't want to go to
Oh, yeah.
overtime.
I think that's definitely sort of mine. My score prediction is if Bryce Young plays. I feel like if their backup Milrow comes in, I don't know if it's going to be as close of a game because I think
I
our
still
defense
think he'll be able to throw
definitely.
it because our just secondary
Yeah.
has been struggling, bro. I mean, like you look at LSU's Jaden Daniel or whatever. He had like over 300 yards. So I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I mean, still, I thought our defense played great, but I think that Milrow, if he does play, could still be able to pass the ball. I think we're going to play good defense. If we come out and play defense like we did last week, I see us having a really good game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree for sure.
I think before we end this off, I think we should do a keys to victory. Just talk about things outside of players, I guess. Um, and I mean, players are going to be keys to the victory, but like talk about what you think is going to go into this game to giving us a win or a loss, each of us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking the crowd's got to play a big role, right? I think, whoever's in there, I think you put Milrow in there, eh, he's
I
not
think
going
if
to be
Bryce
able to
plays,
hear
he's fine,
anything.
but
I think so
he played
too.
in
But
big
the
games.
inexperience of Milrow, I
Yeah.
I thought the crowd was going to have a bigger impact on Florida, but it didn't seem like they did. I think this game's different. Bama struggled on the road against Texas in that environment. Even with Bryce Young, they struggled with the crowd noise in that game. If you go back and watch that game, and I think this weekend that our
Trevor?
I think we might have lost him. But basically, yeah. As Trevor was saying, we are awesome, and keys to victory is crowd. So Levi, you can go ahead.
I guess I'll continue where he left off with the crowd. See, the thing, I honestly don't think the crowd played too much of a role. Like the Florida crowd was pretty good, but for most of that game, we were handling it pretty well, so they were kind of out of it. With this game, if it's close the whole time, it's going to be crazy the whole time, and that's why the Florida game was kind of like they were still crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like Oklahoma 2015 crazy or
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss last year. Like, well, I mean, it's probably about the same as Ole Miss last year, but this Alabama game has the potential to be one of the most crazy environments you'll ever see in a college football game, and it's going to be probably the biggest impact in the game. But I'd say, as I said earlier, uh, turnovers is definitely the keys to a victory for this. If you're positive in your turnover margin by the end of this game, I'm pretty confident Tennessee will win the game if that can happen. If you can force Alabama to give you the ball and not give them the ball when you shouldn't, then I think we're gonna be good. But yeah, those are my keys to victory. Andrew, take it away.
Yeah, I'm gonna just be very straightforward. I kind of touched on it a little bit. You have to win on first and second down against Bama, right? So, uh, that's the first biggest thing. If you get positive yardage on first and second down, you make third and manageable, or third, a lot more manageable. Obviously, have to win up front for us to be able to run. That's my second key. Our push that our offensive line gets, and the rush that our defensive line is going to get on the quarterback. And last, I'm going to say just respond, right? So Bama goes out and scores. Let's go down and respond, or respond on the next defensive possession or something. Just don't let them keep you got to keep your composure in this game, because sometimes you can get your emotions and things can run high. So just keep your composure and respond to the next play. Or they bust a big play, you got to respond to the next play and just reset next play. So that's my three keys to the victory.
Oh yeah, Tennessee topic.
Hello.
I can go ahead and do mine.
We're having a
Yeah,
lot of
go ahead, bud.
technical issues today.
He left.
Oh,
No, he's back.
Yeah, I see it. I think it glitched out a little bit, but
Okay.
oh, you're good.
yeah. So keys wise, honestly, I think the big key to this game for Tennessee, and I'm gonna just give one because I feel like this is the overall big key, is clock management. If we can manage the clock very well in this game, I think Tennessee will win it, honestly. And, Heupel, outside of the Florida game, has done great with managing the clock. I feel like Florida was great up until the final stretch in the fourth quarter, and, it kind of came back to bite us. And that kind of showed when Florida almost could have pulled it off against us, and it felt like a Florida-Tennessee finish, as always. It's just how Florida-Tennessee's supposed to finish, I guess. So that's the headset I guess I'm going to stick with. But if we can manage the clock well and keep the ball in our territory or keep them on their heels the whole game, and, if we can get Bama's defense gassed, that's going to be huge for Tennessee, and that could be the turning point of this game and what could separate us from being, underdogs to really being the favorites, or from us being down to being up. You never know. So if we can gas them quick and manage the clock well during this game, I have Tennessee walking away with the W.
Facts.
Oh yeah, and going back to exactly what Trevor and Levi both said with the crowd, I definitely think that the Florida game was not as big as this Alabama game is going to be, and that's where the crowd is definitely going to step up for this game. Loved how we're oranging out the whole stadium and bringing up our just sick orange and white, and I think we definitely have a big chance to get a big dub for this. Push our chances to make the college football playoffs, but one game at a time, like always. Trevor, do you got anything else to say before we head out?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'd say turnover margin, right? Let's win the turnover battle. I think that's a big key to victory.
Mhm.
I think starting fast as well.
Yeah.
Keeping the foot on the gas from start to finish. I think Tennessee
Yes.
Topic was kind of talking about that a little bit. So, yeah, I mean,
No,
yeah, go for it.
Well, I was
Go
gonna say
ahead.
you don't want to start behind Alabama to begin the game. Like you got to
Definitely
Yes.
not.
come out score
Like our offense
first.
can come back, but I setting the tone from the beginning is key, and that's really what won us that LSU game. It was
Yeah.
over within like the first quarter.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I definitely think that. Does anybody else have anything?
Nope, I'm good, man.
Okay, well with
That's a good
that,
W.
this concludes another great episode of the VolBoyz podcast. While you're here watching us, remember to subscribe and follow our socials on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube. This is the VolBoyz podcast with a Z. Tune in the next episode. And if you haven't, you guys can go back and watch last week's episode where the boys recap the big LSU dub that we got. And with that, y'all have a great week. And also remember to go and check out Tennessee Topics socials. Make sure to check out his Instagram and give him a follow. And also a big thank you again to Tennessee Topic for joining us today. And with that, thank you guys
Yes,
for tuning
sir.
in. And it is great to be a Tennessee Vol.
Go Vols,
Yes,
boys.
sir. Go Vols, baby.
The Tennessee Volunteers are back. They are